improving air safety in Uganda. I won't say much because I don't have much information, including statistics, on how many people are coming into the country and flying out. But we are honored to have Fred Bamwesige, the Director General of the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, here with us this morning to help us understand what is happening. I'll introduce, of course, I've done that, but very good morning, Mr. Bamwesige, and many thanks for making it to Morning at NTV.
Good morning, and good morning, viewers.
Air safety is something that is very critical when it comes to air transport. Yeah. But before we delve into the nitty-gritty of how safe we are as Ugandans who want to fly out of the country, what are the numbers in terms of traffic, passenger traffic at Entebbe International Airport over the last few years? Where do we stand?
Yes, thank you very much for asking that question. Actually, civil aviation authorities world over are about safety of passengers and other aviation users. And of course, the twin objectives of ensuring safety and security in civil aviation, and that's what we stand for. About numbers, it is important for Ugandans and other people to understand that yes, one of the hard hit industry by COVID and other pandemics, not just COVID. You have seen Ebola, you've seen other things. Earlier on there was Marburg and other pandemics. Is always the aviation industry. But just prior to COVID times, and our base year has always been 2019, we were slightly over 1 million passengers coming in and going out of Entebbe International Airport. That had been improving over the years, ever since Civil Aviation Authority was created in 1991. We started with 400,000, 200,000, something like that, until we grew the numbers to over 2 million passengers per year. When COVID came, they reduced, in fact, up, but rather down to something like 200,000 in the year 2020. That one was a very, very bad year.
Was at the height of the pandemic.
Yes, it was a bad year. But right now, the passengers, at least the figure of December 2022, we're already getting to 1.4 million. And who knows, this year we should be able to recover probably up to like something closer against 2 million passengers, because we are now at 87% of pre-COVID numbers. Yes.
So what are the principal drivers of passenger traffic into the country, so to speak?
The passengers, that's again another good question. Passengers come into the country because of how the country positions itself, especially economically.
That's right.
It is not by accident that the countries that they are doing well economically also have very developed aviation infrastructure and also have bigger numbers of passengers coming into the country, but also going out of the country to do business related to what the country is doing.
That's right.
In our case, the drivers are always mainly tourism. Tourism is really a pattern of aviation. You can't do aviation here in the country without partnering with tourism. And of course, the economy has, over the years, been picking up. And now there are even drivers, like they need to extract oil. You see many passengers coming in and out of our facilities just because of those two twin aviation. I want also to add here that you cannot just simply develop aviation facilities without developing other related facilities, like recreation centers. Indeed, I have just said tourism attractions, and then the whole hospitality industry. These are together and they must be seen as one package.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now that we have a picture of where we are, especially in terms of passenger numbers and the state of traffic into the country, safety is pretty much important.
Yes. Please.
Now, you said that civil aviation authorities across the globe are about passenger safety,
Yes.
air safety.
Yes, please.
When you look at the trajectory of events in Uganda over the last 5 years, we've had skirmishes, especially when it regards to safety around Entebbe International Airport for incoming and outbound flights. When we hear these stories, some might not understand why, for example, birds keep running into planes, or the planes keep running into the birds because the other one is pretty much their space. What are the mechanisms in place to ensure that such incidents are reduced?
Actually, what you are calling skirmishes at Entebbe are actually simply not, they are just isolated cases. I should tell you.
Okay.
Because you know, Entebbe, especially Entebbe, is actually a bird sanctuary.
The airport is about
the location,
the location. Yeah.
Why? Because you know it is a peninsula. It has water and the fish and other marine life that are in Entebbe. And of course, before the airport was in place, this was a big center for migratory birds. But now, even most importantly, the environment around has been seriously degraded. Because of developments that are taking place. So the natural habitats of birds are no longer available. And of course, when the birds come and see a vast area, sometimes of kept grass, but also the tarmac, because there is less interference with their movements than it would be in other highly settled areas. So it has now caused a lot of pressure on our systems to continue chasing away birds almost as a single activity. Yes, bird hazard control and bird and wildlife control is a feature of any airport. But in other airports, it is a reduced activity, not as it is in Entebbe. But we've really largely controlled it, except a few times when these migratory birds, for fear of getting another habitat, come and simply settle there. And then they cause a lot of looking like there are too many, but we've largely been controlling them. Otherwise, we would be seeing quite a lot of incidents there.
At the turn of 2021, if my memory serves me right, President Yoweri Museveni was very disturbed by the quality of the tarmac. He spoke about the fact that, especially when there was that incident where a Rwandan plane, a plane from Rwanda Air, skidded off, the quality of the tarmac, the technical word escapes me for now, was an issue. And there are ongoing works right now, both around the tarmac area and the premises of the airport. I'll leave those the premises of the airport for another day, but the improvements on the tarmac, the ability to be world standard, and so that even if there is an incident where a plane overshoots the runway, what are the measures in place to ensure that such incidents are reduced?
No, of course, for a casual eye.
Yeah.
Sometimes people like to comment so quickly before they have even understood the problem.
All right.
I want to make it clear to the public, the Ugandan public, that the quality of this tarmac, even by technical studies, coefficients you can see, is very, very good. Actually, I can prove it. I can even bring you.
Are you suggesting the president wasn't briefed?
No, the president sometimes, of course, when he sees an accident, like all leaders, really he has to ask questions, and he's perfectly okay in that. Not just him, but even other people.
Yeah.
So this tarmac was adjudged. Of course, there are many other negative reports, including the press, before understanding a real problem, then people dive into it. What came out now, I have an accident investigation report, a draft at least, which came in. It is talking about an error by a pilot. One, there was a lot of water that morning. Of the Rwanda incident. Rainwater. Yeah. Again, coming out of degraded areas and very few grass cover from the surrounding areas. And you see just almost like a flood. But we are trying now to control it through drainage. A lot of water, some unusual millimeters of water, thickness. So they created another thickness. There was water, and when the pilot was landing, I think he underestimated, even if the message was telling him that there is too much rain, he underestimated the value of water. But it had nothing to do with the cost of the runaway. Studies are already there. What is always on the runaway are always rubber deposits, and those accumulate every day. But we have parameters under which we cannot allow them to go beyond, because once they go beyond, then that now becomes a safety issue. But our studies are very clear. The parameters are still within acceptable limits. But this was just one. Otherwise, you would see all aircrafts having that problem. Because on the whole, the majority of aircrafts, of course, land safely, as you know. And that is really, it should be understood by Ugandans. The runaway is there. The quality is known, it's been documented. That's right. And there is absolutely nothing of that nature. Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the...
In fact, let me probably get to Ugandans. What was the issue on Rwanda Air? More was that it skidded off, and we could not allow other aircrafts to come in because the wing was within distance that would not be allowed for other otherwise if we had wanted, we would continue operating. But then we had also to get it because
in violation of the
yes, we had also to get
aviation.
To get it when it was still intact, because it was not damaged at all. That took a bit of time, and that was a concern of the president because he was also going to Kenya
at the time.
At that time, sure. and it delayed. It delayed. To clear off the runaway.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, construction that is going on around the airport, especially within the access to terminal areas, has been long-standing. Timelines have passed, and the inconvenience is visible when people have to meander about the airport so that to be able to, you know, catch a flight. Are you going to keep Ugandans disturbed like this?
No.
And other people?
No, again, that is another very, very good question, and it gives me an opportunity to explain.
Please do.
First of all, there are two types of works going on. The remodification, that is modifying the current terminal facility, but also expansion.
That's right.
Activities. The remodification, we were using our own internally generated resources. And these internally generated resources come from passengers in terms of charges, terms of taxes of the airport. But when COVID came, now that hit the very revenue source. And that's why that modification took long, because we were not having enough revenues to deploy there. But when we started again, now we have started working on it, and it is going to be completed by end of May. And marked by end of May.
End of May.
That's what, so passengers will be coming up to the airport. Those who are coming, who are arriving, will also be in the airport, because you can see there are two bridges, there are two roads. One the upper for departing passengers, the one lower for arriving passengers. And that will be completed. But there are also other works, resealing of parking areas, even resealing of runaways, which we have completed. Because there are also cargo facilities. And we are also expanding the terminal building with 20,000 square meters. So all those bring inconveniences, but we want to thank the traveling public that the inconveniences they have got, like any other facility that is being renovated, remodified, but we keep on operating. there is bound to be a level of inconvenience which we think should be at a reducing end by this time. And for sure, we want to thank Ugandans for being able to keep with us, but all we are trying to do is to improve customer comfort,
their experience,
customer facilities, and the experience.
Talking about inconveniences, just a few months ago there was a furor on social media that was caused by some of the officials that were seen to be corrupt, extortions and everything like that, and then you came up with measures that bordered on confining passengers and the public from being able to experience the airport. Because one thing I will assure you, in Africa, or in Uganda in particular, to board a plane and travel abroad is regarded many times as a milestone. People want to take pictures, they want those snapshots, they store those memories. Now, apparently, there are constraining factors or procedures that have been rolled out by the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Why are you doing this?
Yes, well, as we have explained this for a long time, I want again to take this opportunity to continue to explain it and the measures we have put in place. The airport is, as I have said over and over again, is a border point.
Yeah.
It attracts all manner of players, not just Uganda Civil Aviation Authority people only. In fact, the only place where you get in touch with this Uganda Civil Aviation Authority staff is at the entry, where they are asking you whether really you are a traveler or an airport staff, checking your identity,
or an idler,
passport and other things, and the ticket, yes, or an idler, that's correct. The other, then you go into airlines, those are not staff of UCA. Then you go into immigration, that is a border point because it is controlled by immigration. Then you again interface with Uganda Civil Aviation staff at the central checking. But because we manage the airport, we take that responsibility. There were gaps into how we harmonized those activities of different agencies, including security. 7 security agencies operating to the airport, in the airport. So there were gaps, but we are also punishing people who were wrongdoers at that time. You remember, we even sent a list of how we had been doing it, punishing people, getting immigration officers probably doing wrong things, and we posted them. But we had, because of again of the pandemics, everybody almost started coming into the airport. Health workers.
I'm sure, yes, there's a lot.
Everybody, and somehow the gaps arose because many of these desks were not actually features of airports, and some relaxation took place. But now it is not easy.
Back to the specifics of using mobile phones at the airport, especially for those that could be traveling or even escorting their loved ones as they...
No, those ones, see, again, let us not be...
watching.
Yes, let them watch, because let us not be misunderstood. The only places where we restricted, there are always restrictions in every facility, including this one. You don't just go taking pictures anyway. There are restricted areas like servers, yes, security installations. Those you cannot, even in ordinary times, you cannot just take them. But we allow people in passenger areas, they can really take pictures. They even take pictures of duty-free goods which are being sold. People take selfies wherever. We never restricted that. The only problem that we did was we just put it in such a way that it was almost like welcoming people. And these are, of course, the ones who put there were security people. They had probably nothing to do with the comfort of passengers, but we removed them and we restricted that to areas which must not be taken.
All right, that speaks to harmonization of the various agency works.
Yes,
of course, for each to understand how their role plays into the general safety and the beautiful experience at an airport. All right, time is not our best ally right now. Finally, Uganda will be hosting the G77 Plus China Summit in December this year. That is a massive event. There are a lot of people that are going to be coming in. Security will be tight. How are we prepared for that?
We are, together with the National Organizing Committee, led by Madam Rusena Chobe, the head of the service, public service, and we are really preparing. The airport is just part of the preparations, but we will have completed some of our facilities, like that remodified building, departure and arrival will be complete. Parking facilities will be completed by that time. We shall put extra facilities like extra receiving tents. Security equipment, we have even ordered more just for the normal passengers, but they will be here by that time. So we are in the initial preparations, but I am sure we'll be on top of the game by that time.
All right.
Now, there is one thing. We were talking about those events, but there is a major activity that will take place for us in aviation this year.
Okay.
In September, there is a universal safety oversight audit from ICAO, that is International Civil Aviation Organization. You know, aviation is global. Standards are global. Standards are global, and they are enforced by that global agency. So we are, and that resonates with safety of aviation. So all operators in this country, we are trying, and sometimes we look like we are stringent, especially with our airline. Okay. We are very, because it has come into existence last year and this year. We are trying to make sure that no fault at all. So other than being told by ICAO, we are trying at our own level to make sure things are straightened, especially regarding safety. Not just in that, in the training institutions, in the airport itself, we are trying to make sure that we align every activity into the standards that are promulgated by both ICAO and domesticated by this country to ensure that we are compliant. And we don't want to make mistakes at all. So in so doing, we look like we are really stringent. Because we don't want to, safety is something that you can never compromise.
All right.
Yes.
Many thanks, Mr. Fred Bamwesige, the Director General of the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Many thanks for the insight and perspectives on improving air safety for Ugandan passengers making their way out of the country, but of course also including those that are coming into the country as visitors. That will do it for this edition of Morning at NTV.